Hello everyone, my name is Margaret. I'm an English teacher. I'm going to teach you today a few phrasal verbs and idioms that you can use when you want to talk about learning. The first expression on our list is do's and don'ts. Please remember the way we pronounce it, do's and don'ts. It is usually things that you should and shouldn't do when you're going or doing something. For example, in the back of the guide, there is a list of the do's and don'ts of local etiquette. It means there is a list of the rules that you should and shouldn't do while you are in a different country, for example. The next expression is to make yourself understood. It means to be clear. It means to speak in a way that others can easily understand you. For example, since they spoke only Chinese, we used signs and gestures to make ourselves understood. Trial and error. It is usually a way of solving problems by trying several possibilities and learning from your mistakes. For example, trial and error is a fundamental method of solving problems. It is characterized by repeated varied attempts, which are continued until success or until the agent stops trying. The next expression is make the most of something. It means to enjoy something or use something as much as you can. For example, Mary knows how to make the most of her talents. It means she knows how to use her talents at full capacity. Number 2 is they designed the advertisements to make the most of the product's features. It means that they designed the advertisements so that to show all the product features. Next is learn something off by heart. Sometimes you can omit off and say it just learn something by heart. For it means that you have to remember things without remembering them. So you can remember the things without looking at different resources. For example, the director told me to learn my speech by heart, which means that he asked you to learn the speech by heart so that you can remember every single word that you have to say. Number 2 is I had to go over it many times before I learned it off by heart. Next is say or read something out loud. It means to say or read something so that others can hear it. For example, please say it out loud so everyone can hear you. Or can you read the task number 2 out loud, please? Next is get behind with something. It actually means when you do not do something on time, and so now you have much more and you have to do it later. For example, she'd been ill so often that she was getting behind with her schoolwork. It means now she has a lot to do because she has not done it on time. The next expression is to catch up with someone. It means to reach the level of others who are more advanced, and so you can reach the same level as they have. For example, a sportsman from Algeria caught up with the leader on the last lap of the race. Give up. I guess everyone knows this expression. It means stop trying to do something or accept that you can't do it. For example, the writer gave up on writing the novel. It means that he stopped writing his novel. Next expression is stick at something. It means to continue to do something even though it's very, very difficult for you. For example, I hope he can stick at this job. It means you hope that he can continue to do this job even though it's very hard for him. The next example is, he doesn't seem to be able to stick at anything for very long. It means he can't continue doing something for a long time because of different reasons, because of different things. The next expression is get there. It means to achieve success, to achieve something after a period of work or effort. For example, first I thought it would be impossible to become a surgeon, but I stuck at it and finally I got there. It means you continued your studies, you continued to do your work so that finally you became a surgeon. To brush up on something means to remember, to improve your knowledge or skill in something, especially when you haven't used it for a long period of time. It means to revise something. For example, I need to brush my French up a little bit. It means you should revise some pieces of grammar, bits of vocabulary, so that you can remember how to pronounce, how to speak French. The next example is, I need to brush up on my French. It's the same. The next expression is make sense out of something. And as you can see, you can omit out and say just make sense of something. It means to understand something, to manage to understand it, to remember something. For example, I can't make sense out of Doris and what she has done. So it means you can't understand what she's doing and what she has done. The next example is no one can make sense of Tom's story. It means that nobody can understand his story. The next expression is keep up with someone. It means to make progress at the same speed as others. So for example, he started to walk faster and the children had to run to keep up with him. It means that they had to run to be on the same level as he was. For example, the next, wages are failing to keep up with inflation. It means that wages are becoming less because of inflation. Sing in. It's a very good expression, especially if you know the verb sink. It means when you can't swim, so you can sink. And if knowledge starts sinking in your mind or starts sinking in you, it means you start remembering it. For example, I heard what you said, but it took a while for it to sink in. It means you heard what you said, but it took a while for it to remember, to understand it. The next example is, I pay careful attention to everything I hear in calculus class, but it usually doesn't sink in. It means usually information that you can hear in this class can't sink in. It means you can't remember it. Keep your mind on something means you try to remember, try to keep in mind, try to remember, to continue concentrate on something while you are doing something else. For example, when you are taking the exam, don't forget to keep your mind on time. Means don't forget about the time. Because you are supposed to complete every single task, and if you do not keep your mind on time, it means you can lose your time, and it means you can run out of time and wouldn't have enough time to complete your tasks. The next is pick something up. It means to remember and to learn things very easily. For example, I pick languages up easily. It means you can remember and learn languages easily. I picked up a lot of knowledge about music from my brother. It means you remember a lot of knowledge, a lot of information about music from your brother. Keep it up is a great expression when you want to encourage somebody and to say to them that they should continue at the same level as something they are doing already. For example, you are doing very well. You are doing very well, everyone. Keep it up. So it means do it at the same level. Rack your brains or rack your brain. It means to try hard to remember something. For example, I racked my brains all afternoon but couldn't remember where I put my book. It means that you were trying hard to remember where you put your book, but you couldn't do that. You couldn't remember that. Next example is, don't waste any more time racking your brain. Go borrow the book from the library. It means stop trying to remember where you had put this book. Just go and borrow another one from the library. Go back to someone means not when you go back to something or someone, but when information or words, for example, come back to you, it means you start remembering them. You start remembering them in your head. For example, I hope when I start practicing English more, words will come back to me faster. It means you will start remembering words faster. On the tip of your tongue, I guess it's very, very clear to everyone to understand it. It means when you remember something, but you can't, when you remember something, but you can't remember the exact name or the exact sound of it. For example, I have his name right on the tip of my tongue. It means you sort of remember his name, but you couldn't remember it exactly. John had the answer on the tip of his tongue, but Anne said it first. It means he actually remembered this answer, but Anne was the first one who said this answer in an exact way as it's supposed to be. And the last expression in our today's class is go in one ear and out the other. It means to not actually, you hear what somebody says to you, but you do not pay attention to it, and things you forget things very, very quickly. So, for example, everything I say to you seems to go in one ear and out the other. Why don't you pay attention? It means this information just go in one ear and out the other, so you don't pay attention to it. I can't concentrate. Things people say to me just go in one ear and out the other. It means you forget them very, very quickly. So, that's all that I want to say to you today, and I hope that you enjoy it. If you want to do some exercises, I included a paper so you can do it, and if you want me to check it, just send it to my email. I will check it. Goodbye everyone. Bye bye bye.